Expressing and appreciating gratitude when speaking Chinese is an essential part of communicating effectively, right? But as a Mandarin learner, if you want to sound like a native and truly make them forget they're speaking to a foreigner, you'll need a few more phrases than just 谢谢. And there's also a ton of subtleties, even to those common phrases that you may not be aware of, that can really level up your skills once you grasp them. And you're going to master pretty much everything you need to know about gratitude in this one video. So let's get started. So as usual, we're going to approach this in the same way we approach our Chinese courses. We'll start off by mastering the foundational concepts and then build on that foundation. Starting, of course, with 谢谢. Now, while 谢谢 is incredibly basic and one of the first words we actually learn when starting with Chinese, there are a lot of cultural subtleties surrounding this word. And you can make many little tweaks on this depending on the situation. So for example, if I'm in a shop or a restaurant and they give me what I paid for, or they bring the water I asked for, I'd just say 谢谢 with a smile. But depending on what they've done for me or what emotion I want to express, I can slightly tweak 谢谢 as well as a bunch of other phrases we'll cover today to increase the level of gratitude. So just adding you, for example, turns it from thanks to thank you, making it just a little bit more formal and slightly more sincere.
小胖子，谢谢你。
谢谢您 is for those older than you or above you in status, such as your boss, for example.
谢谢您给我这份订单，我一定会努力的。
Now, by far, 谢谢 is most commonly used without the 你. And if you want, you can increase the gratitude level just a little by adding the person's name and title. And you can also add the magical at the end of 谢谢 to make it more sincere, just like you can for a million other Chinese phrases. 谢谢 And you can also get more specific, and after you say 谢谢, you can say 你的 thing that you're grateful for. So a really common example of this is 谢谢你的帮忙. Thanks for your help.
谢谢你的帮忙，我拿了很好的成绩，改天请你吃饭。
Now in that clip, she offers to pay the person back by inviting her out to dinner someday using the phrase 改天请你吃饭. So 改天 literally means change day. And in this context, it means another day or someday relatively soon. 请你, 请 in this context doesn't mean please, which is the way we're usually taught. In this context, it means to pay for something, usually a meal. 改天请你吃饭. 改天, one day very soon. 请你, invite you to and pay for 吃饭, a meal together. So to pay for a meal between you and another person or maybe a small group of people is such a common way to pay back a favor. So go ahead and do that when you can or when it's appropriate. And you know, it's also a great chance for you to practice your Chinese, so win-win. Now, if you want to make 谢谢 even more intense and more sincere, raise that level of gratitude, you could say 真的谢谢你了. 真的 means really. Or you can also say 太谢谢你了 to make your thank you more heartfelt. So this works with more than just 谢谢, of course, and you'll see more examples of this later on in the video.
依依，真的谢谢你。
谢什么呀？
你每次来都带东西给我们吃，太谢谢你了。
下一次。
Now in that last clip, notice how she explained what the other person did for her while thanking her. That's also another way of making your thank you more heartfelt. Now, if someone says 谢谢 to you, there are tons of really common ways you can respond to that, but I would say the most common you'd hear day to day is 不客气. So this word 客气, it means polite, and if you look at the characters, you'll see it's made up of 客, which means guest, and 气, which means kind of energy. So therefore, 客气 is something like guest energy. So when you're saying 不客气, you're literally saying don't be polite. Let's be friends, let's be closer than that. Let's not be like a guest-host relationship. Now, of course, in most situations, if not almost all situations, you're not actually friends at all. You'll hear 不客气 from everyone from shop owners to hotel clerks, but it's just a nice way of speaking.
哎，师母，谢谢。
不客气。谢谢姐姐。
不客气，走吧。
啊，好。
Now, there are also a few important variations of 不客气. So you could say 别客气, literally saying do not be polite.
谢谢啊，您别客气。
And in that clip, she says 您别客气 because she's talking to someone older than her, just like with 谢谢您. You can also say 不用客气, no need to be polite. And of course, this one's related directly to an also really, really common way of responding to thank you, which is 不用谢, no need to thank, or more casually, 不谢.
看你这么难过，这个送给你吧。不用谢，你比我更需要这个。
谢谢你啊。
不用谢。谢谢啊。
不谢不谢。
Now, this next variation of you're welcome or don't be polite, I personally really love because it's used between friends in a very casual situation and it's just super nice and friendly. It's 谢什么? Literally, what are you thanking me for?
依依，真的谢谢你。
谢什么呀？
So now we're taking care of the basics. Let's move on to some other common ways of saying thank you and the best ways to respond. So another one is 谢了. So this phrase is also used in the exact same way as 谢谢, but it is only used among friends, similar to 谢什么.
人的心情好的话，酒量就会很好的。坐。
谢了。
Siela is just a very cool, casual way of saying thanks really quickly, and you can't dress it up by saying 真的谢了 or anything else like that, like you can with this next phrase. 感谢. 感谢 is a way of expressing thanks that you can technically say to anyone, but you usually say it when you have a deeper appreciation for something.
感谢你的配合，谢谢。再见。
And with 感谢, you can also say 太感谢了 or 非常感谢, and you can even say 十分感谢. 十分 literally means 10 points or 10 out of 10, thank you. So saying 太感谢了, 非常感谢 or 十分感谢 are kind of all on the same level, and they're just the next level above 谢谢 or 感谢. They're just a way of more intensely expressing sincere amount of gratitude. And a slightly more formal way of expressing this level of gratitude is 多谢. So I would only use that in more formal situations, but the other ones, pretty much any situation is fine. So let's move on to another phrase for gratitude that is only used when someone has done something for you, a favor of some kind. You would say 麻烦你了. 麻烦 literally means trouble. Like I've caused you trouble, basically is what you're saying. I've 麻烦 you. 麻烦你了.
快点吃吧，别一会儿凉了。
谢谢啊，麻烦你了。
So it doesn't have to be a big favor whatsoever. In fact, I use this just to be polite with restaurant staff or hotel staff, things like that. If someone has even slightly gone out of their way for me to do something that I've requested, I will always say 麻烦你了. For big favors, you might use something like 非常感谢 or 太谢谢你了. Now, a great response when someone says 麻烦你了 to you is 没事 or 没事儿. 没事儿 literally means no thing. It's nothing, basically. And it's 100% the most common way of responding to someone saying thank you for small favors. And this is one of those phrases where you can add a bit of body language, facial expressions to give it more oomph, as we say in England. So you can say, 没事儿.
峰哥，谢谢你啊，多亏你帮忙，点赞。没事儿。
And instead of saying 没事儿, it's nothing, you can also just say 不麻烦，不麻烦.
老师，画。
麻烦你了。
没事，不麻烦。我的朋友要回去公司，能不能送他？
没问题。
麻烦你了。
不麻烦，来。
谢谢啊。
Which literally means no trouble. Now, this next phrase I really enjoy using. I don't use it as often because it's just genuinely not as common as the others. But when you do use it, when it's appropriate, man, does it leave a great impression. 应该的. So 应该 means should. So when you add the 的 there, you're saying the thing that we're talking about should be. It should happen. This one's a little hard to translate into English. There's no direct translation, but it's, for me, to do with morality in some way. So say, for example, you picked up a wallet and you made sure that the owner got it back. And the owner might say, 太感谢你了,太谢谢你了. You would say, 应该的. Because, hey, I'm not going to steal it. The morally right thing to do is to make sure that the owner gets it back, not to take the money. So 应该的. Another example of this might be you help an old lady cross the road and she says 谢谢你 and you say 应该的. And if you want, you could really take it to the next level and use the long version of this, which is 这是我应该做的. This is something I should do.
宜宾姑娘，麻烦你了，多谢。
不客气，周先生，这是我应该做的。
In this clip, 应该的 is combined with another phrase that I love, 小意思, which means literally small meaning. And the real translation of that, I guess, would be something like it's nothing or don't mention it.
锁就好了，我连门都换了。
真是谢谢你了。
应该的，小意思。
So those are the major responses to thank you in Chinese, but I'm about to introduce some bonus ones that are less common but will make you sound super native. And the first one is 哪里? So literally this means where, and you can say it when someone gives you a compliment, but you can also use it to mean you're welcome. And it's often paired with 应该的.
感谢您的配合。
哪里哪里。
The next bonus one is 不会. Again, this one's often paired with 应该的. And finally we have 好说, literally good to say or easy to say. So this phrase has the meaning of no problem, and it's usually used among friends and acquaintances.
这件事情我还没有好好谢谢你。哎，举手之劳，好说好说。
And don't forget, when you're using any of these you're welcome phrases, you could always just try adding in this one. We're all friends here. 都是朋友嘛. And you can of course tweak this to change it to something other than friends. For example, in this next clip, she says, we're all colleagues here. 都是同事嘛.
谢谢丽萨姐，别客气，都是同事嘛。
So that's about it for thank you and you're welcome. I hope you found that useful. And just remember that my goal here isn't to teach you every single phrase, and I'm sure you'll discover more as you expose yourself more to the Chinese language. What I've covered here today, however, will be all you'll need for 99% of situations, and with the cultural explanations that I've provided, you will certainly be able to start using them more like a native speaker would. So go ahead and try some of these phrases out with your language exchange partner or speaking tutor, and I'll see you in the next one.